from the MCPLive.tv studios, located in downtown Conroe, it's the Conroe Art League, live.
Hello, and welcome to Cal Live, the show that introduces you one by one to the artist of the Conroe Art League. My name is Jennifer Clausen, and I am pleased to be your host. Today, I am speaking with Loraine Tomon. Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to share your story and your art on Cal Live.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Loraine, do I notice you have an accent? Where are you from?
Oh, just a little bit of an accent. Originally, I was born and brought up in Aberdeen, Scotland, and I didn't come to the States till 1997. Unfortunately, I haven't lost the accent. I've been here 25 years,
Well, it's beautiful. We love to hear something different for sure.
Well, I can't get rid of it. My kids don't have one anymore. They did when they came, but not anymore. But
So what brought you to the area?
well, I married an American. When I lived in Aberdeen, it was the oil capital of Scotland, and so all the oil people came from the States over there, and I met and married an American guy, and we lived there for 17 years as a family. I had 2 kids, and then he said he had to have some summers because the weather had been bad. So we moved to Texas, which was definitely getting some summers, that's for sure.
I'm sure it was eye-opening after being in Scotland your whole life, for sure.
I remember we came on the 4th of July in 1997, and when the doors opened to let us out of the airport, I just walked into this wall of heat and thought, oh my goodness, what have I come to, I didn't own a pair of shorts, I didn't have sleeveless tops. It was very different.
And so, did you create prior to coming to the States?
Well, when I was real young, like 5 and 6, I used to like making like dolls' clothes. I would get fabric and make dolls' clothes, and then I would get shoe boxes and things and cut out, make tables and chairs and little wardrobes to hang the clothes in. So I liked creating that way.
Right.
And I did take some art at school, but not really. Sewing was my passion. When I was younger, I wanted to be a sewing teacher, but that didn't come to fruition. When I left school, I was a lab technician, so I made microscope slides. That was my job for Aberdeen University. And then when I had the kids, my kids had narrow feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved on to opening a children's shoe shop to solve that problem because I kept getting misfitted in the local stores. So I had that for about 10 years. And while I had the shoe shop, I decided to take some art classes. So I went and took some watercolor classes, and we tried charcoals and pastels as well, but I like the watercolor best.
It is such a live medium with the movement of the water that I can
Right.
understand.
I just like that interpretation of art, the watercolor effect.
And have you studied with anyone here in the States?
Well, when I came in 97, I couldn't work. So I needed a hobby. Once I got the kids into school, you're sort of on your own all day. So I went to Cousin's Glass in Old Town Spring and took a stained glass class. And I thought, oh, I like this. So bought all the gear, was making it at home. And then I went back to Scotland, I think it was about 2010. I went up to Banff in Scotland, and they had a little glass studio there that I went to that was doing fused glass.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen anything like that here at the time. So when I came back, I looked into it, and Bob Patterson had just opened Hot Glass Houston over beside Tomball area.
Yes, 249.
Right. And so I signed up to learn how to do fused glass, and I took his basic class, and I said, okay, I want to buy a kiln. And he said, oh, a small kiln. I said, no, I want a big kiln, like your kiln. And it's called a coffin kiln.
Okay.
It's got two 20-inch shelves side by side. So that was my first kiln.
Oh,
and
wow.
he said, are you sure?
Go big or go home.
I said, I don't want to do jewelry. I just want to do big pieces.
Yes.
So that was my first kiln. I now have 4 of different sorts. Yes, I was totally hooked. And he was good. He would bring in people from all over, really. Brad Walker came and taught classes there, and Craig Mitchell-Smith. Yes, I enjoyed his classes.
Bob was very good about having a guest artists come in from time to time and do workshops, and they would be anywhere from a couple of days to a whole week. I did one with Michael Janis, and Bob was so clever at getting people together and it being a friendly environment.
Yeah, very social.
And teaching. He was just such a good teacher.
And I made friends in those classes.
Mm-hmm.
I did a class by Donna Safaris,
Oh, okay.
an egret, and I'm still friends with the girl I met there, and she's now moved up to Maine, and I go up there in the summer and we play glass. She has a studio up there.
That's fantastic to have a community of artists, even if they're far away, to be able to exchange ideas and, I guess, nourish each other's souls in a way.
Right, and I go to the Glass Expo in April every year. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't have it the last couple of years, but they have a big arena with all the vendors there, so you get all the latest equipment.
And is that in Las Vegas?
It's Las Vegas.
Okay.
And then you can sign up for classes. So people like Michael DuPille come, and you can get classes from all these, Lisa Vogt. And
Well, that's very important information for people that are interested in learning more and, I guess, committing a whole weekend or week to...
It's a whole week of classes. You can do a class in the morning and a different one in the afternoon, or you can take a 2-day class and learn a better technique. And so I go there and just spend a fortune, because I always find a new technique and then buy the stuff to do it, which is the whole point, I'm sure. But
And so what subjects inspire you when you create?
Well, I really kind of like nature a lot. I like doing, landscapes and outdoor scenes. But yeah, and I'm quite keen on pattern and color as well. Just.
I think you have to be with glass, don't you?
Right. Yes. Yes. You do.
And are there any artists that inspire you?
Well, I opened an account at Hollander Glass, and they were doing classes down there as well. Mm-hmm. And I did a sgraffito class with Kelly Algie, and that's like, it's like painting with glass powders.
Okay.
You sift on the black powder, and then you move out the negative space to create your piece, and then you color it in on top with the powders, and then when it all fires, you have your picture. So that was a good technique for me. I quite enjoy doing that.
And did you find that layering the powders added depth, or did it just alter the colors?
This was just a flat fuse.
Oh, interesting.
So I did that class, and then I thought, you do the black lines, and then you're putting your color on top, and you think, I've moved that, so the black underneath will have moved. So I thought, okay, I wonder if I could etch in the black lines and fire it first and then colour it in. So that's a technique I've developed and worked on, and you can see that in one of my pieces.
Well, I look forward to seeing that soon, yes.
And you know, Nadine Booth, she also taught naturescapes down
Okay.
at Hollander.
Okay.
And the autumn trees is my other piece. That was kind of her technique that I adapted for that one.
And you did say you do, or you have done a theme series, is that correct?
Well, the birch trees, I've done it summer and autumn and winter.
Okay.
So, and I have one lady that she's bought 2 out of the 3. She hasn't bought the winter one yet, but she keeps changing it.
Fingers crossed she'll need it soon.
Right.
So then you do commissions, is that correct?
I do, yes.
That's fantastic.
It's nice to get commissions.
It certainly is. Someone that says, I like what you do enough to have an own custom piece to surround myself with, because they do say it's important to surround your home with the things that you love and make you feel good. So
Yeah, I sell some of my work down at the First Saturday Art Market
okay.
down in the Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one guy coming with his wife and looking at one of my pieces, and he was into that. He'd been watching the lady that says, if it doesn't make you happy.
Mary Condor.
Right.
That's right.
So he's saying to his wife, does it really make you happy?
He was using it for her not to buy things, I see.
She did end up buying it, so it was nice.
Well, fantastic. There you go. Well, where else can people see your artwork besides First Saturdays?
Well, I do put things into the Condo Art League.
That's fantastic. Another motivator for anyone that wants to see Lorraine's work. It's at the Conroe Art League, along with the work of several of our other artists. And so have you received any awards for any of the art that you've created?
Well, the Spring Fair of 2020, I have to say, I got first, second, and third.
Oh, man.
It's Division 2, I think, in Category J, which must cover the glass, I'm not sure.
I believe it's studio craft. I was asking around about that because as the years go on, they keep adding categories, and so G is something else now.
No, it's J. Like,
Oh, J.
yes.
Okay. That is, I think that's what Deborah Riley had told me, that it should be studio art, I believe.
Well, I don't remember what the definition of it was, but
Well, congratulations.
was
That is quite something to win first, second, and third. I mean, that's a rare occurrence, I would think.
well, I hope to enter this year's one. I haven't done it yet, but I will.
No, I look forward to seeing that for sure. And how long have you been a member of Conroe Art League?
I want to say 3 or 4 years, maybe.
Okay. And have you done any volunteering, any docent work or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, you put in pieces and you do your docent shift, so
Mhm.
yes, I've done some docent work.
And I think I recall you also donated a 12 by 12 mosaic to the auction for the month of February. Is that correct?
I have, yes. I have, because I'm really into the fused glass now, I have this wall of stained glass,
Yes.
and you can't mix them, and so I'm trying to use up my stained glass. So for the 12 by 12, I made a mosaic with stained glass.
But it must be fun going back to some of those old techniques and adventuring
Oh,
with that.
this last summer, I decided, okay, I'm going to get rid of all this stained glass. I'm going to make things with it and
Mhm.
see if I can sell them. So I started doing butterflies, and they were like 14 inches in diameter for the
Okay.
garden.
Yes.
I think I sold 20 butterflies last
Oh,
summer.
Well, that project
so that
definitely
was a
worked
big
out.
hit. Yeah. So I'm sold out, so I have to make some more for this year.
Well, that's fantastic news. Do you have any current projects you're working on?
Well, I'm playing with some things. I recently bought some of those fondant molds, and I'm trying out a freeze and fuse technique, where you mix powdered glass with water, and you freeze it, and then don't ask me how it works. You take them out when they're frozen, and you put them in the kiln, and they maintain that shape.
Very
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so I've made lots of leaves and things like that, so that I can incorporate them in my bigger pieces. Little mushrooms and leaves and flowers, and
Wow.
so I can incorporate them. So I'm playing with that, and then I'm going to Carol Roach's ceramics class on a Monday afternoon, and I've been making little clay pieces, not for doing the ceramics, but for aiding in my kiln carving with my glass. Made little flowers and leaves and things, so that I can lay them down and then fire the glass over the top, and they'll kiln carve and show the shapes. So I've been playing with that as well. So, and there's another thing called modeling glass, where you add powder to a medium, and then you can roll it out like clay,
Oh, interesting.
and then you can make three-dimensional pieces and fire them. They do shrink, but I'm just putzing about with that.
Well, speaking all the creative work you do, why don't we take a look at some of the images you brought for us to share?
Well, this is, I call it poppies at the back door. When I took my art classes in Scotland, I had a friend, Hazel, and she basically painted this, or she did it in pastels, similar to this, right? And then she did prints of them. So it hangs up in I bought one of her prints. So I thought, oh, I'd like to kind of create that in glass. So this is using the technique where the background, the door and the walls are etched in, and the powder's laid down as a background, and then a tack fuse technique on top, so that you get some dimension.
I see. So you use different size frit?
Well, you fire the base layer. It's like a layer of black glass, and then I make my layer of white glass slightly smaller, so you get the black border, and then I put a mask on it and etch the walls and put down black powder, and then sift on some color, and I fire that. And then when it comes out, I add the poppies and the little flowers in the front.
Other vegetation. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And is there a particular artist that you learned those techniques from?
Well, it's sort of an adaptation of Kelly Algie with the Sgraffito and Nadine Booth with the naturescapes. You kind of put them both together, and that's what you get.
That's fantastic. Yeah, making what you learned all your own.
Right, yes. You do so many different classes, and you like little bits out of each one, and you think, oh, I could use that.
Well, let's look at the second image you have for us.
Now this is called Spanning the Space. There's a really good guy, works out at Helios studio in Austin. He's called Paul Tarlow, and he writes these e-books, and they're really inexpensive. You can buy them online, and I got an e-book called Spanning the Space, and that 5-inch square in the middle is a technique out of his book. So you cut 1/4-inch strips on edge, and you put them on edge, and you push them in so that it fills the space. Now I did this in yellow with turquoise, so they react with each other. One's a copper bearing and one's a silver bearing glass. So where they touch, you get a little brown line, and that's where you get that reaction.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you have the white in between, there's just this glow for the turquoise and a glow for the yellow on the edges. But when they meet together, it's quite a different
Right.
technique or even look. And so for our third image, what do you have for us today?
Well, this is something similar to what I made when I did Nadine Booth's class, and it's just naturescapes. It was just a path through the woods. This is a tack fuse, but I do it on clear glass, and I build an image with powders at the back first, and I fire that. So this one actually has mountains and a lake in the background. So when you put it in a window and you look at it from the back, you can see that image. And then you put the trees in front and just tack fuse. There's some little ferns at the bottom there that I've added in.
Yeah, I imagine it adds a lot of depth, and you can see that when you're looking at it in person.
Right.
Would this be one of the pieces that was commissioned?
Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic. So you did this one summer, or was it spring?
I did a summer one, and she bought the summer one at the Market Street Fair.
Okay.
I had a booth there a couple of years back, and then this year she phoned up and she said, "You're not at the fair in September." And I said, "No, I didn't take a booth this time." She said, "Oh, I was hoping to buy an autumn one." So I said, "But I can make you one." So I did.
Well, where can people see your artwork?
Well, they can come to Conroe Art League and our first Saturday art market, or I'm happy to show them anytime they want to come to my studio. I have a studio now, which was my garage, which no longer holds a car, but I have it air conditioned, and I'm starting to teach classes, so they can come and learn from me.
So you have a Facebook site that might advertise some of the options that you do there and some of your glasswork?
Well, I do have a Facebook, and I have an Instagram. I'm not very good about maintaining them, I have to say. I really need a website, so anyone who can help me with that, I'd appreciate that.
Yes, that is a call to all of you CAL members. If you can help Loraine with her site, I'm sure she'd appreciate it. And maybe there's a trade in there for one of the classes that you offer or something like that.
Might be a good trade, that.
So besides glasswork, I understand you also do etching.
Oh, I do, yes. I added a sandblaster to my my glass tools. Every time you go to the fair in Las Vegas, you spend a fortune because you buy another piece of equipment. So I bought a sandblaster one year, and this is the sort of thing I make with the sandblaster. Or I have this bottles that you can, like this one says, "Merry Christmas, y'all." I can do happy anniversary or happy birthday, whatever.
So custom etchings.
Yes, so if you want a special gift, bring me your bottle of wine and I'll etch it for you.
Well, that's fantastic. So do you have any goals you see coming up here in the next year or two?
Well, as I just mentioned, I've set myself up a studio. I'm finding that it's getting hard setting up tents and lifting boxes of glass to go to fairs. So I'm going to try and move towards teaching instead of selling my art. So
I understand that there might be an option for people to bring wine, and it'll be like a social event.
Oh, I have a little class that I call a wine down, where you come and make a dragonfly. So you bring your own wine and nibbles, and we sit in the kitchen and have chat and fun, and then everybody goes into the studio and makes themselves a dragonfly or a butterfly. So it's fun. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure it is a fun date night or a gals weekend.
Right.
Anything that will encourage people to try new things and get out
Right.
of their comfort zone.
Yes, it's different, and everybody that's done it so far has had fun. So I am doing basic fusing classes. So hopefully, once I get a few more people through the basic classes, then I'll start to offer more in-depth courses.
Well, that's fantastic. To see more of Lorraine's art, as well as the art of all the other members of Conroe Art League, please visit us at the Best Little Gallery in historic downtown Conroe at 127 Simonton Street. We are open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Join us at the gallery where we live by our creed: create, appreciate, and learn.